So let's actually get started. One of the first things you're going to want to do, if you haven't actually accessed GPT-4 just yet and you don't know how to, go on to ChatGPT and make sure that if you are on ChatGPT, you do need to have ChatGPT Plus, because if you don't have ChatGPT Plus, then you won't be able to access GPT-4. Now, one of the cool things that you can see about GPT-4 is that there's 3 different versions that you have access to if you have access to GPT-4. Now, I do want to make some key differences here because there is a lot to get through in this video, and there is going to be some things that you might have missed. So there are now 3 versions of ChatGPT. So of course we got the default version of ChatGPT, which is available to Plus users. So if you've purchased the $20 a month subscription, you'll be able to get this version right here. And you can see the reason that this one is really good is because it is really fast, almost double or 3 times the speed of the legacy version. So the legacy version that you can all see right here, this is essentially just the free version. So if you haven't signed up for GPT Pro or GPT Plus yet, you're not going to be able to see GPT-4, or you're not going to be able to see default version of GPT 3.5. So understand that that is why you may not see these 2 tabs here. So once you upgrade your subscription, and then you'll see the tab for GPT-4 and you'll see the tab for GPT 3.5. Now, what's interesting about this is that GPT 3.5, we need to make an important distinction because GPT 3.5 is actually faster than GPT-4. So you can see right here, the speed on GPT-4 is only 2, but on 3.5, you can see that it's a 5 on the speed. So the 3.5 version is actually really quick. So if you are wanting to get data out of ChatGPT really fast, just use the default version of 3.5 because it is magnitudes faster than GPT-4. So GPT-4, okay, as you all know, is actually very slow. So GPT-4 is just as quick as the legacy version of ChatGPT, and it's actually slower than you'd expect. Now, most people would think this version that would be really quick, but that is not the case. So that is something that you do want to note. Another thing to note about ChatGPT is that it does currently have a message cap of 100 messages every 4 hours. So this is something that you want to understand. So for example, when you're sending these messages, try to understand that you can't just keep on sending messages for a big project just yet, because they are slowly rolling this out, and I'm guessing that as they do roll this out, so you ought to know that GPT-4 isn't going to allow you to send too many messages in a specific time frame, because I'm guessing that they want to limit the usage of this platform. Now, if there are some tips and tricks that are missed in this video, be sure to comment down below and I'll see if I can get to those comments and potentially make another video on this stuff, because there's definitely a lot to cover and there will be updates to this as the developments continue. So of course you can see that there are many things that you should know about GPT-4. GPT-4 doesn't really allow you to create a code prompt with more than 2,000 words. You know, currently we did see this, that was, you know, something that was advertised, but this is going to be something that is reserved for the API. So if you've ever used GPT before, if you've ever used OpenAI's, let's not go there, or if you've ever used OpenAI's Playground, this is going to be where you're going to be using GPT-4 in the future, and this is where the long form content creation is going to be. So if you're someone who's online right now thinking, okay, I want to use GPT-4 to create ebooks, I want to use it to create essays, I want to use it to create many different things, understand that right now in its current state, GPT-4, you can't actually do that, because you can see right here, it says GPT-4 is capable of handling over 25,000 words of text, allowing for use cases like long form content creation, extended conversations, and document search analysis. But this Reddit user showed that after inserting a code prompt with about 2,000 words, they said the message you submitted was too long. Please reload the conversation and submit something shorter. So right now, guys, ChatGPT, understand that you're not able to submit insanely long things and have it analyze them, but that is something that is going to be happening. And of course, the GPT-4 API waitlist on this page right here, it's called openai.com/waitlist/GPT-4 API. Just sign up here and just simply wait, and eventually once you're accepted, once they actually roll it out, that's when you can head over to Playground. And then essentially what you want to do is you just want to switch the model, and then of course once you have the model, which is going to be the chat right here, that's where you're going to be able to have that long form content on. So it's definitely on Playground, it's not on ChatGPT. Now, some of you might be wondering, another thing you might be wondering is, where are the images support? Image support is coming around, but they haven't actually released this just yet. So this is something that they have worked on, with something that they have shown us, but this isn't something that hasn't been released just yet. So if you're looking for an image button right here, or an image button right here, or one in Playground, this isn't something that we have yet. So, you know, your ChatGPT isn't bugged out. This is something that we haven't got just yet. So some people have actually been using ChatGPT to develop many crazy things, okay? So for example, ChatGPT, especially GPT-4, has gotten really good at making code. In fact, it's gotten so good that many different coders are now starting to create these mini projects with them. And you can see right here that this guy tweeted out, with GPT-4's help and no previous coding experience, I just made my first Google Chrome extension in a few hours. GPT-4 walked me step by step through the entire creation process, writing the code and fixing all errors that came up. This simple extension translates the text of any web page into pirate speak by using the GPT-3 API and the prompt ahoy matey. So it's definitely really cool because as you guys know, GPT-3 was something that people did use to create code, but as you know, that GPT-4 has become advanced. So for example, let's say I wanted to, and this is something that I did before, this is something that you can get really experimental with. Let's create a Pine script for a trading bot. And this is something that I did a video on before, ages ago. So here you can see GPT 3.5 using ChatGPT to create code. So this was me, like I think a month ago, trying to create code. So essentially, ChatGPT now, GPT-4, has gotten much better at creating code, and it's definitely having a lot less errors. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what it does with this new prompt, because it'll be interesting to see just how different this is. I'm gonna go ahead to GPT-4 and I'm gonna see, and what you guys want to see right here is you want to see just how slow this is. Now, of course, if you're someone who's used to Turbo, you understand that, of course, this is definitely slower, but if you're used to the legacy version, then this is going to be something that is, of course, the standard speed. So this is essentially what we have here, which is like a Pine script trading bot that you can actually use on TradingView. If you know what TradingView is, you can just simply input this into the Pine script editor, and you can actually use this to make a trading bot for yourself as a buy and sell signal indicator. This is something that ChatGPT can actually be used for, and it's actually something that does pretty much work. So you can see right here that ChatGPT is actually much better at code. Now, for those of you who are wondering exactly how smart ChatGPT is, there's a recent article by Forbes just detailing exactly how ChatGPT beats 90% of lawyers trying to pass the bar, and this is something that is real because I did cover this in yesterday's video. So it is something that is actually true. ChatGPT is very smart, okay? And of course, there are going to be some times where you do get some errors, but if you do have any errors, you can just simply input those errors into ChatGPT, and then it will essentially recorrect those errors. So it's definitely good at creating code, and this is going to be something that is much more smart, okay? And you can see right here what's different about this one, okay, is that it actually walks you through step by step. It gives you much more thoughtful responses, and it's just generally a lot better and a lot more refined. Now, what you can also see here is that this user was able to get GPT-4 to make them an iPhone app that recommends 5 new movies every day, including the trailers and where to watch, and you can see that this app actually did work. Now, of course, you might be wondering, how difficult is this to do? Understand that if you don't know how to code, guys, you can literally just ask ChatGPT how to get started with any app, with any program, and it will literally give you the step-by-step tutorial. And this is something that I've done before, and the code that I did just write is actually pretty perfect. I didn't receive any errors when applying it to my TradingView, whereas the previous version of ChatGPT, there was always constant errors that it would have, and it would take maybe around 5-8 tries before you could actually get you know, the right code. And this time it actually did get it correctly. Now, though this might not be something that you do want to use, ChatGPT can be used to create very basic games that you can see, that you can play in your browser. And of course, you guys can see right there, all you need to do is literally ask ChatGPT what kind of game you want to create, and then simply it will output that code, and you can create those basic games in your browser. Now, you might think that this application isn't that impressive, but guys, understand that this can do this within seconds, accurately, with you know, a high degree of accuracy and a high degree of, you know, certainty, meaning that, you know, these applications can be used on many different programs and in many different fields. Okay, this is just, you know, a demonstration of how powerful the software is. This is definitely something that you do want to play around with. Maybe you have an app idea, maybe you have something that you've wanted to code, maybe that you know, you have a concept in your brain. ChatGPT can help you bring that to life, especially if you have no coding knowledge. Now, one of the key features that they did actually, you know, give a demo of was the fact that let's say you went onto default GPT 3.5, even the turbo version, and you said, can you write a sentence about AI? ChatGPT would simply refuse this, and sometimes it would actually make mistakes. For example, if you ask for a paragraph, in fact, let's ask for a paragraph because it's not supposed to be able to do that. Let's say if we have a paragraph, can you write a paragraph? Well, you can see that it does try to do it, okay, but it does get it kind of wrong because this is an A, this is the letter D, this is the letter M, this is the letter H. So it does try, but if we ask GPT-4, you can see that it does it more accurately. So if I say, can you write a paragraph about AI with all words beginning with the letter A, it should get this actually right. So you can see right here, the GPT-4 is much more smarter. It's like a couple degrees smarter. So you can see right here, artificially advanced algorithms are autonomously accelerating, astounding analysts alike. So that's really, really, really impressive for a natural language model. And yeah, guys, honestly, this is just truly, truly incredible. It just goes to show that, you know, right here, it tries, but it doesn't get it. And then, of course, you can see that right here, it actually does get it, and it does get it with a perfect degree of accuracy. There's not one word which is, you know, another letter. So it just goes to show that GPT-4, maybe if you tried something before and it wasn't that accurate and it wasn't that great, or maybe you thought that it was a bit too difficult, try it with GPT-4 and you'll see that it is definitely magnitudes more precise, magnitudes more specific, and it's more concise in its efforts to, you know, give you a specific answer, because it doesn't need to, you know, blabble on about a lot of stuff. Now, another thing that ChatGPT is really, really good for is, I wouldn't say generating lawsuits, because that's not something you want to do, but definitely the law and definitely taxes. So in the OpenAI demo, what we did actually see was, you know, GPT-4 doing taxes, which it really did in a very, very good way. So GPT-4, as you guys can see right here, this is by the OpenAI demo, actually did manage to do this person's taxes. So of course, as you guys can see, they were on Playground, they were in the chat beta mode, and you can see that right here they said you are tax GPT, and this is why I said the steerability of GPT-4 is going to be insane. This is why it's not just going to be ChatGPT anymore, where it's going to be something that you're going to be talked to. You could literally make it applicable to any single industry in the entire world. So I could make it a YouTube consultant, I could make it a healthcare consultant, I could make it a music consultant. As you can see right here, they're making it a tax consultant, and it accurately does solve the taxes. So it says, you know, he did actually paste in the tax above. There were so many details that he added, and then of course at the end it outputted the right tax liability. So when it comes to math questions, GPT-4 is going to be really, really good, and you should still be able to do this with GPT-4 right now in ChatGPT. So this is definitely something that I would say that, you know, maybe you're having a difficult email, maybe you receive an email, you're not sure how to respond. GPT-4 is going to be able to give you the very best convincing emails that you can write. So definitely use this for very, very difficult things. And I know that might seem basic, but honestly, just using it and integrating it to my daily workflow really did just make me a more efficient person. And I was honestly surprised at how good this was at just doing some of the basic tasks 10 times more effective than I could think of. So if you're someone who's you know, used GPT-4 and you're wondering what to do, you can use it to definitely check code. You can use it to do your taxes and other stuff like that. You can use it to help you with the law, because remember that GPT-4 is actually really good at the law. It's actually good enough to get into Stanford and many different law schools. So you can think of it like having your personal law assistant. So with this stuff, GPT-4 is a step up. So now it actually has, I wouldn't say it has qualifications, but I would say that it is good enough to advise you. And of course, you definitely want to, you know, of course, always seek an attorney for a final decision. But it is definitely something that can advise you in areas of the law that you may not be, you know, that you may not know about. So it's definitely something that I would be using. And with GPT-4, there aren't any really crazy prompts. Of course, you can prompt it in many different ways, but it just goes to show that now it's so much more specific. So I would get even more specific with your prompts, because that's what GPT-4 is clearly designed for. And when the multimodal function does come out, when there's like a little box here when you can input an image, or maybe on Playground, when you go onto OpenAI and you go on Playground, if you change this to chat, and then if you switch this to GPT-4 when it does come available, when they do release the API, you're going to be able to see exactly how crazy GPT-4 is, because it's going to be able to generate that long form content. So I would make sure right now what you do is you definitely get your API key, and you definitely sign up for the waitlist, because once it does release, there's definitely going to be a lot of people using it, and you definitely want to be the first.